past history. We ask, why are you leaving your present company? We look for gaps in the resume. For instance, if you didn't work for a year or two, we ask, where were you? Research behavioral interviews, because all companies now use behavioral interviews, and I'll give you an example of what that means. Give me an example of a time you had a conflict with your manager. How did you handle it? And walk me through what happened. Give me an example when you had a conflict with a coworker. How did you handle that situation? Tell me about a time where your open-mindedness helped you come to a different conclusion. And when we ask questions like that, we want you to give the situation, the action you took, and the result. And it's always good to have a good outcome.
First of all, try to practice at home always, because we as native non-speakers, we tend to be not as confident with the language. So even before going to the interview, try to practice, what might be the possible questions. Just just try to ask those questions to yourself, and then try to talk about yourself and try to tell about your background kind of to yourself. Just practice a few times. That'll give you some confidence during the tour. The questions, I would suggest that whenever you do the interview, make sure you go and Google interview question for this and this field. Because say for example, I do the Java interview, so I go if I'm not sure and if it's my first experience, I go Google up some Java interview questions, and there's a big list that comes up, and you go through those with the questions and answers, and that gives you some feel for what you may get. And then also definitely make sure that you go through your resume, because people will ask you whether tell you about your employment background, so you'll have to go through some recent projects and things like that. Or maybe if you don't have a work experience, they might ask you about your school project, maybe it's your first job. So
during an interview, you should never ask about salary or benefits that you might get, because it would be assuming that you already have the job.
One thing that is a pet peeve of mine, but I also think it very much detracts from someone's professionalism, is just poor language choice, whether that's using profanity, whether that's telling stories that are just not necessary for the context of the interview.
Dress professionally. Don't wear anything too revealing, too tight. Always remember to turn your cell phone off. Those are the things that we look at first.
You also don't want to offend the interviewer by acting inappropriately during an interview, or using the wrong word choice, or using slang or something that may offend them. It's also a good idea to not wear too much cologne or perfume, because the interviewer may be sensitive to that.
Helped you to get, I think, confidence in my field, and obviously knowledge, because by now I have actually 10 working years of experience. So that
an interview is your opportunity to sell yourself, so you should be confident in what you're trying to say.
I think it is perfectly great to share what you have learned from previous experiences, but I think the negativity and critiques that I've seen in few interviews, but in interviews, it doesn't give the sense that this person is serious and professional and frankly mature enough to take on the work that I want them to take.
It's very non-personal, because people just concentrate on the technical side of things, and they do get feel for your personality, but they can't ask you any, your family background or anything like that. No, none of they can't ask you a birthday or anything like that.
You should never talk about your personal beliefs or religious beliefs or your home life, because you don't know what the interviewer believes, or you may run the risk of offending them.
Now that you've learned about the tips for a successful interview, watch this video of an interview and decide what tips this person did not follow. Consider, what would you have done differently? Did she follow any of our tips?
Please come in, Miss Smith.
Thanks.
Please come in, Miss Smith.
Thanks.
I thought we might sit over here if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, sure.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Miss Smith, did you happen to bring a resume with you?
Oh, yes.
Good. There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Billie Jean, why don't we start out by telling me something about yourself?
Well, I was born and raised in Alabama. I'm married, still live in Alabama. I have a dog, it's a Yorkie. He is the best dog ever. I'm a libertarian because I like to stay in the middle of the road. And that's about it.
Interesting. Okay, well, so you're interested in working for Dewey, Chatham, and Howe.
Yes.
What do you know about us?
Well, I saw y'all on Monster.com, and my boss right now is an idiot. I hate where I work right now. They can't do anything right. They got all ticked off because they had a beer at work. They're prudes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you, oh, never mind. Tell me about your skills and qualifications for this job.
I've put it all on my resume, so we don't even have to talk about that. You can just read it on my resume. There, I've done a lot.
Well, now this job requires a lot of computer programming. What's your background in this area?
I'm not very good at C++, and I'm not good at all at Java. I'm not good at that at all. But I can do enough to get by here.
Well, this job also requires a lot of teamwork with your coworkers. Tell me about a time when you had to work with a team and how you accomplished your objective.
Like a real life example?
That would be preferable.
This one time in my class, our professor split us up and put us in a group. We had to work on a problem, like a math problem. It was about mass transit.
And what happened?
I don't remember. We did the problem.
And what was the problem?
It's been a long time. It was a couple of years ago.
Okay, I think we're about done here. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask before we conclude?
Yeah, how much are you going to pay me? How much the salary here?
Well, we really are concerned with finding the best candidate. The money will be competitive.
Do y'all have like a 401k, all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yes. Yes, we
Good, good. Well, when do I start?
Well, we do have several more interviews to do. We'll be in touch.
You've got my number. You know how to get in touch with me, and I'll be waiting on your call.
You do that.
All right. I can't wait to hear from you guys. It's been so good. I really enjoyed this interview. I can't wait to hear from you.
It's been nice talking with you, too.
Okay. You have a good day. You know my number.
I just think interviewing is it's a good process for both the interviewer and the interviewee. I think it should be seen as helpful to both parties in making a decision about whether or not it's the right position.
And try to be relaxed. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but try to relax and enjoy, because you do get to know people, and the more interviews you do together, the better it gets. So I think, you'll get a hang of it eventually.
I hope that you will be able to use these tips in your interviews and improve your chance of getting your dream job. Good luck!
So good luck to everyone.